You can help with suicide prevention efforts. That's tnprevention.org, a public service announcement of the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network and this station.
You're listening to Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. The Drive is coming up. The ESPN Cleveland 101.3 lineup is supplied by Wholesale Supply Group. WholesaleSupply.us.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, it makes sense to choose an insurance agent that's a part of your community. Your local Allstate agent knows the ins and outs of both owning and protecting a home in your neighborhood. By choosing a local Allstate agent, you get an expert who knows the community and is committed to getting to know you. Which means George Gray can help you get the protection you want that fits you and your life. Are you in good hands? Contact George Gray, Allstate Insurance, today for a free quote.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardee's, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardee's. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing.
You are listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. I hope everyone out there is having a good Tuesday. It is a steamer outside. I looked at my car temperature. It was at 100 degrees about an hour ago. And yes, and it felt like it, man. It was brutal outside.
I know. All these football teams, there's no way that they're getting to practice outside today, which is, it's unfortunate because it's that time of year, but you also, player safety is huge, and that's, what comes first for sure. But it is a hot one, man.
Oh my gosh.
Like, even yesterday, I remember walking out of the house after it just sprinkled like a tiny bit and thought, like, this has got to be what hell feels like.
Yeah. Of course, people like us that wear glasses, your glasses just steam up when you walk outside. But you get in a nice, cool air conditioning, and they clear right up. You feel like you've become a regular person again because you can see. We plan this show out pretty good just about every day. But every now and then something happens to where you're like, nope, change of plans. We've got a new lead story. And by the way, we are going to have Phil Steele is going to be joining us around about 5:15 today. And we're going to talk to him about college football, lots of stuff, topics about college football. But college football is going to lead off the show today because big name up in Knoxville today, Boo Carter. We talked about him last week, Jacob. We got conflicting stories. I was hearing certain things up there in Knoxville from the media that this stuff's being overblown. It's not as bad as it seems. And then you get other people saying he might leave the program. So we didn't really know what was going on with him.
Yeah, it's definitely been in limbo land. And you know how X works. You know how Facebook works. Things just start rolling downhill, and you never know what the actual story is. But today, Josh Heupel at his press conference went ahead and got it out of the way early. We're going to go ahead and play that clip for you. We're going to play about the first really 4 or 5 minutes of it because I'll be honest, Boo Carter is the center of conversation throughout that entire time.
All right, let's go ahead and let's listen to see what Josh Heupel had to say about Boo Carter.
Great to be back. Excited to get to training camp with these guys. Next phase of us preparing ourselves for football, and can't wait to get out on the field with these guys tomorrow. Excited, proud of the work that they put in. You start this journey as they come back in January through your winter, spring, summer. proud of what we've done or what our players have done, leadership that we have inside of our locker room. And now it's about taking the next step and taking steps every single day, competing to be our best individually and collectively as a group. Got great leadership on this team. I know at some point I'm going to get a question about Boo, so I'm going to address that right now. Boo is a part of our team here. There's some things that he's got to accomplish to get back on the field with us. Don't have a set timeline on that. Our leadership council has been a part of those things, those discussions with me and with Boo. I'm proud of what they've done. They care and love Boo and want him to be his best too. And through this, I think Boo sees that as well. And, at the end of the day, us collectively continuing to grow here through the course of training camp. I will be the one that will take questions on Boo, and that's today and here throughout the beginning part of training camp as well. But proud of how our team has handled those things, and ultimately we'll handle those things internally. I'm not going to get into details on everything. So excited to roll. You guys are going to get a chance to hear from some of our staff and players today, but everybody in the building's ready to go for tomorrow. So with that, let's open it up.
Questions? We have mics on each side. We'll start with Brent up front.
Yeah, Josh, how much dialogue over this month have you had with Boo, and kind of what's your policy with players not being around for, quote, summer volunteer workouts? Do you have a set policy on if they go work out with their trainer or somebody else? How does that work? Yeah, and end of the day, it's a requirement to be here, be a part of what we're doing. There's a lot of information out in the world. Some of it's correct, some of it's not. I'm not going to address everything. Over the last week, we're disappointed with how some things were handled. At the end of the day, you have a conversation. What does it look like moving forward? And that's all parties. That's our leadership council, Boo, and our staff. And so it's not about what yesterday was. It's about today, and we'll see as we continue to progress where that leads us.
So have you talked to him before today? Or?
Yes, I had.
Okay. So you've been in contact with him the last week or so?
Parts of it, yes. I'm not saying every day, but yes.
John, then Ben.
Yeah, Josh, do you always consult with your leadership council when you're making a decision involving discipline a player?
I think always is probably a stronger word than I would say always. My wife would tell you would get me into trouble. But I think each situation is unique, and I think, in leadership, it's important that you step back and, try to look at it from different angles as well. Ultimately, in this case, we had, conversations with multiple parties.
So you could say sometimes or often?
Yeah.
Ben?
Josh, what gives you confidence that your leadership council will welcome back Boo with open arms, and that his return won't impact the locker room or the leadership or your culture?
Yeah. Well, you guys on leadership council, I know it's true in the locker room too. They care about the person, care and love for him, and want him to be his best. I think that starts in life, through the conversations we've had with him, and then that parlays itself onto the football side of it as well. So I'm not worried about the chemistry. At the end of the day, there's standards that we all have to meet, and that's everybody in the building. When somebody fails in that, whether they get another chance or not, that's, each situation is different. But ultimately, Boo's got to meet those standards here as we move forward.
And with that, now we got to hear the Josh Heupel side of things. I think this is very interesting. Here's a couple of things he said. He says there are some things that he's got to accomplish to get back on the field with us. Well, we don't know what those things are going to be, and it sounds to me like it's more than one.
Yeah, it sounds like the leadership council has kind of come up with some things that he's going to have to do before he's able to. I don't know what on the field means. I don't know if that means back into a starting role. I don't know if that means back to practice.
Yeah, that's what it sounds to me is back to practice.
Yeah, so but what can he accomplish to get back to? It sounds like they need him at practice. They need him at workouts.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, there are requirements, and he even said that. He goes, it's a requirement to be here. That's a direct quote from him. There are certain requirements you have to do to be able to compete on the field, on the playing field for playing time. And Boo Carter's going to have to do some stuff. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it's run the steps at Neyland Stadium. I don't know. Or it could be other things, maybe some community things. Who knows? But he's got some certain things away from the practice field that I believe he's going to have to accomplish before he's going to be allowed to practice with the team. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, so at bare minimum with this situation, he missed things that he was supposed to be at. Yeah. At worst, some of these rumors are true, and he had some other off the field issues. So that interview really didn't answer any questions, and I give Josh Heupel credit for that. Like, I'm not going to throw my player under the bus, especially with the intentions of keeping him on the roster. There's got to be some trust and some love there. So he's doing a good job saying, I'm going to take the brunt of this. I'm going to be the one that answers questions about this. If you have ones throughout the season or whatever, you can ask me. At the worst, some of the rumors true. At the bare minimum, he didn't show up to practice, which is against team policy.
Yeah, and he said that it's a requirement. The stuff that he missed was a requirement. So there are repercussions when you do that. And listen, I don't know what Boo Carter was up to. Don't know. We probably will never know. We'll hear rumors. I don't buy into this stuff because people make up a lot of stuff. Let's just be honest. Social media is great, but man, a lot of people can just make up stuff. So I take everything with a grain of salt. I'm like, yeah, let me wait till I hear this from more than one source, credible sources, before I'm going to buy into it. Because, man, we don't want to be someone that throws stuff out there on the air when it's just pure 100% rumor.
Yeah.
But we don't know what he did. But obviously he missed required things going up in Knoxville, so he's going to have to make good, if you will. Listen, he's a superior talent. We know that. The kid can flat out play. And right now, there was all this talk about him playing two sides of the ball, playing defense, playing a little offense. We know he's a great punt returner. We don't know, is that going to mess it up? I don't know.
Yeah, good news is he's back. For Tennessee fans, he's back. He's in the building. Hopefully he does the things that he's supposed to do to get back on the field, because when he was poised to be on the field, he's poised to be your starting star guy, which is basically like a safety linebacker mix. They have a lot of responsibilities. They're in on a lot of plays. He was going to be in the slot, potentially, helping in the running back position behind Carnes up in Knoxville. There's a guy, Deshaun Bishop, I believe his name is. We got to cover him at a Walker Valley game one time. Very talented player. Went from walk-on to now scholarship player and poised to get some touches there. But then on top of that, he's your punt and potentially kick return guy. That's so much production out of one player to potentially, honestly, if he's going to do all of that, if he's going to be all of that for the team, him going back and asking for a little more NIL money in today's era probably isn't the worst thing in the world. If you're going to ask me to be a defense player, offensive slot guy, your kick returner, and your punt returner, I may be coming back to the table saying, give me a little bit more money too.
Yeah, and of course, around here, we all saw Boo Carter doing all that stuff around here. So we know what he's capable of. Now, up Knoxville, a lot of the fans up there, they heard about Boo Carter and how productive he was in high school around here. And all they got to see him was on defense. They didn't get to see this kid. When he's got the ball in his hands, he's a difference maker, man. He's got a different gear. You saw him, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's against Walker Valley?
Against Walker Valley, honest to goodness, to me, that's what blew the door. He was what blew the door open. So you have a 93-yard kick return who he makes just everyone look silly on. He's got a 60-yard touchdown catch that he had. You see him week after week after week. When he got the ball in his hands, he was almost untouchable. It was like if you wanted to touch him, it was going to be the time he got to the sideline and said, all right, let's line up and do it again.
Absolutely. I can't wait. We're going to be following this all week long. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Phil Steele of the Phil Steele College Football Preview Magazine. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll be back after this.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardee's.
Hardee's is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in-store or online at Hardee's.com today.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
Make sure your vehicle is winter ready with a visit to Cleveland Tire Center, providing full-service auto care, including oil changes and brake service, plus a lot more. Cleveland Tire Center, North Lee Highway, Cleveland, where the name says it all.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
The Cleveland Regional Jetport offers conference and party room rentals. Their corporate conference room can host up to 50 people and has multimedia connections. The Jetport also has a perfect room with a beautiful view for hosting special parties and bridal and baby showers. Let the Cleveland Regional Jetport host your next event. Find out more at clevelandregionaljetport.com. That's clevelandregionaljetport.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one. Medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And we are very, very pleased to have the publisher and editor of Phil Steele Publications, most notably Phil Steele's 2025 College Football Preview Magazine. By the way, Volume 31 is currently available all over Cleveland. You can go to Books A Million, Walmart, Publix, Food City, you name it. Anywhere where books and magazines are sold, that's where you can find it. And Phil, thank you very much for coming on to join the drive today.
Hey, a real pleasure. Always enjoy it. And a quick note there, it's only available at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, only 2 locations. Okay. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million are the only 2 brick-and-mortar places.
Gotcha. Okay, listen, we have seen some of the competition in your business go away over the years. Publications like Street and Smith, the Sporting News, and others. Obviously, Athlon and Lindy's are still around. What do you think is the reason that you've been able to survive in this digital world with the hard copy version of your magazine?
You know, I think the biggest reason, especially in the age of the Internet, you know, everybody says, oh, I could just look up stuff on the Internet. But really, the magazine is like getting 136 media guides rolled into one. And if you wanted to go look up stuff on the Internet, you know, who's the top rusher for this team, who did this stat-wise last year, what was the score from 3 years ago, all the schools' websites are set up differently, and you're probably 5-6 clicks away from finding the information. Meanwhile, my magazine's laid out in the same format on every page, and it's been that way. So you could close your eyes and say, hey, I need a score from 2 years ago. Boom, you know exactly where to look. Who's the starting left tackle? You know exactly where to look. It's actually quicker and easier to use than the Internet, and it's also pretty hefty. It's 360 pages. But, it seems like once you get your hands on a copy of it, you need it for the entire season, and it's something you refer to all season long. So I'd say quicker and easier reference than even the Internet, and that's one of the main reasons for its longevity.
Phil, Andy here. One thing that I've noticed, and as I read through your magazine, it sounds like now you guys are going to press a little bit later than usual. I believe you guys go to press in June, so you can make sure you get all the transfer portal stuff as accurate as possible.
Yeah, that was big, and it's something we changed a few years back with this portal, especially now that there's a second portal window. Let's go to one portal window, huh? I know the coaches want it, and I know damn sure Phil Steele wants one portal window. But, we actually wait 5 weeks until the portal has been closed, 5 weeks after the portal's been closed. That way we capture all the moves. So there's nobody left out there after 5 weeks that's worth signing. I mean, it happens so quickly in the portal that we are able to capture it all. But, yes, it means going to the press a little bit later. You know, it's interesting, going back to Jim's comment, Andy, and that is the magazines, what they used to be. Joe Del Popolo got me into the magazine business in 1995. He was Game Plan, and he told me at that time, he goes, you have to be the first one on the newsstand. Everybody buys it. Second one on the newsstand, people buy it. After that, they might not buy your publication, so be the first one out. Well, we're the last one out, but it hasn't affected us because we've got all the up-to-date and latest information.
Phil, this is Jacob. Just thumbing through your magazine, the amount of information in here is wild. As a Georgia fan, I love being able to go to the Georgia section and just look through all of the vast information from years prior and all the things that you have on there. How long does it take you to put all this information together with all of these teams?
Yeah, a couple weeks. No, it's a completely different, Jacob. But we start actually the Sunday after Thanksgiving, when some team's season is complete, and we do the first I do the first write-through process of the magazine, which is read through every article that was written about that team for the entire year. I get it completely fresh in my head, and then I write for each position. What kind of shape were they heading into last year? What happened last year? What kind of shape are they heading into next year? And I do that for each and every 136 teams. Then the second write-through is once we get the spring rosters, the freshmen have all been signed, the transfer portal's been moved. I don't have to rewrite the first two parts of that because what kind of shape were they heading into last year, what happened last year, that's not going to change. But now there is major write-throughs on, hey, this is the shape of the team for this year. And the third write-through is actually after I talk to the head coaches. And I tried to talk to all 136, but I think we get to about 125, 126. That's all we can cram in there in the 1 month of time that we have to talk to the coaches. And then you rewrite the third section again, how I feel about each one, update all my power ratings, get it out. It's 7 months of work. And that last month, May and into June now, has turned out to be really hectic with that second transfer portal, Jacob.
We're talking to Phil Steele, the publisher editor of Phil Steele's 2025 College Football Preview magazine. Now, Phil, educate me here. You've got a preseason top 40, but you also have your 2025 Power Poll. And here's a couple examples. You've got Boise State, number 15 in your preseason top 40, but they're 47 in the Power Poll. Toledo, number 25 in the preseason top 40, 68 in the Power Poll. Liberty, 39 in your top 40, 81st in your Power Poll. What is the difference between your preseason top 40 and your Power Poll?
Yeah, the Power Poll is basically the strength of each team. And in reality, if you threw Boise, which I have number 47 in the country, into a Power 4 conference, they wouldn't be finishing the season at 12-0 or 11-1. They'd have a weaker record because if you look at them overall talent-wise, they wouldn't really match up in that respect. Same thing with Toledo, as mentioned. But my actual top 40 is where I think the teams are going to finish at the end of the year playing the schedule they're playing. So if you take a look at a team like Toledo this year, where, I have them ranked number 68 in the country, and they would struggle in a Power 4 conference. But when you look at their schedule this year, like last year, they beat Mississippi State. They actually outplayed Mississippi State at the line of scrimmage, which was really surprising in that game. This year they open up with at Kentucky, and I think if they can somehow get past Kentucky in the opener, they'd probably be favored in all the rest of their games this year. So you're looking at a Toledo team that's going to finish 11-1, potentially 12-0, potentially be a playoff spot. That's why I've got them in my top 25. But talent-wise, they are number 68, which is where the power poll is. And I do that because there are two ways of looking at the team.
Gotcha.
Hey, Phil, Andy here once again. One of my personal favorite parts of your magazine are when you go and look at all the different polls. My personal favorite, though, is the toughest schedules and the toughest conferences. You go through with a fine-tooth comb and make your predictions. Going over to page 27, you've got Phil Steele's 2025 toughest schedules. And for our listeners, I want to go ahead. I've got the magazine right here in front of me. You've got now Jim. I'm going to give you some background here. Jim's a big Ohio State guy. I'm a big Notre Dame guy, and of course Jacob, as he said, is a Georgia guy. You've got Notre Dame at 22, Ohio State at 24, Georgia at 44, and Tennessee at 47 as far as toughest schedules. And sitting at the very top, Wisconsin at number 1. How much time just for that alone does it take for you to get? I know you've got a formula, you've got a computer. Kind of let our listeners know that process.
Yeah, and I have 9 different sets of power ratings. I play them into the computer. We come out with averages, means, everything spits it out. Come up with the computer's formula, and then I have to look at the schedule as well, make sure that, hey, yes, that is the case. And let's take a look at Wisconsin, which I have playing the nation's toughest schedule this year. In non-conference play, they've got a pretty easy match. They play Alabama on the road. They play Miami of Ohio, a team that was in the MAC title game last year. And then in Big Ten play, they basically play all the big boys. They don't miss any of them. I mean, they're playing Ohio State. They play Oregon. They play Indiana. All 3 teams made the playoff last year. They play playoff contenders like Washington, Illinois, Iowa. Heck, even Minnesota is a team that could come into that mix. They've basically got one Big Ten team, which you would say, hey, that's one of the weaker ones. That's Maryland. But they're playing 8 brutal Big Ten games, all pretty much back-to-back, and they've got some very tough road trips as well. So it's the toughest schedule in the country, and definitely going to be tough for Luke Fickell.
Phil, it's Jacob again. I'm just at awe at how much information is in the magazine. So for our listeners, like everything that you would want to know in college football, go pick this thing up. But what is your favorite thing to write in this book? You've got so many different topics, so many different teams. Like, what's your favorite aspect of the magazine that you enjoy writing the most?
I'll tell you, my favorite part of the magazine overall is just talking to the head coaches, because on the average, the calls last about an hour, and what I do is I send them my team pages, and it's got all my players on them and all my player notes and every stat and everything you could play about the players, and then I say to the coaches, okay, let's go over the players, give me strengths and weaknesses of each of the players, put me in order. If I've got a guy second team and he's really third team, let me know. If I've got a guy third team, he's really going to start, let me know. And then tell me how you feel about the position. And I just think being granted basically about an hour per coach, that amount of time to spend with the coaches, I find invaluable as far as putting the magazine to go. And it's such a grind. It's 7 months of a lot of hours each and every week. There's no downtime at all. Talking to the coaches is definitely my favorite part of the magazine.
Well, Phil, you say you spend about an hour talking to each coach, and I read in the magazine that out of 136 FBS head coaches, you interviewed 125 this year. That's insane.
Yeah, and all pretty much in the month of May and then into the first week of June. So I'll give you an example. Like I didn't get to talk to Coach Sarkisian this year at Texas, but the second week of May, we had a scheduled call for 2 o'clock. He had a recruit come up. He's like, hey, let's reschedule it for 4 o'clock on Friday. Oh, I have a coach at 4 o'clock on Friday. Okay. We throw times at him. He threw times at us. And then every time we came up with a time, something happened, and boom, I didn't get to talk to him. We just ran out of time at the end. So it happens with the coaches where, trying to fit their schedule and my schedule together all in a 5-week span to get through all those calls, it makes it quite hectic.
Phil, you've got Penn State #1 in your top 40 and also in your power poll. So you see polls all over the place, and literally I'd say about 85% of them have Texas #1. What separated Penn State from Texas in your mind?
Well, first of all, Texas lost a lot to the NFL draft. I think they lost 12, 13 draft picks, like Ohio State lost 14. They also have a first-year starting quarterback. Now, granted, Arch Manning is everybody's favorite, and they do have a tough defense. But when I look at Penn State, they have what Michigan and Ohio State had going for them the last 2 years. 2 years ago, Michigan had a lot of players turn down the NFL, senior-laden, homegrown group. And by the way, this year I did put an emphasis on homegrown teams. And what I mean by that is players recruited as freshmen have been there. They're not relying on the transfer portal. They use the transfer portal, but only to supplement. The majority of the team are homegrown players, so there's that great team atmosphere you got going for you. So anyway, Michigan had a lot of players turn down the NFL. Last year, Ohio State, they wanted that pair of gold pants. They didn't get it, but they did win the national title. They had a lot of players turn down the NFL and return. Penn State, same thing. They only had 5 players lost to the NFL. Danny Dennis-Sutton, defensive end. Zane Durant, defensive tackle. I could go on and on. They're loaded with NFL draft picks on this team. A lot of seniors, all homegrown. Drew Allar, they've got a veteran quarterback. You look at all the top teams in the country. How many return a veteran quarterback? Well, Penn State does. Clemson does. Other than that, not a lot of teams. You look at a running back core. They've got Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen. Keep your eyes on Quentin Martin and Corey Smith. 2 years from now, we're going to be talking about them like Singleton and Allen. They were both super high recruits out of high school. They've got their feet wet a little bit last year, and I think that gives them the deepest running back core in the country. Offensive line, I rated #1 in the country. Now, receivers was probably their weakness, wide receivers, but they addressed that in the portal. They bring in Kyron Hudson from USC, Trevor Pena from Syracuse, Devontae Ross from Troy. Now, all of a sudden, they've got a good receiving core to go with it, and they're just a complete package. Defensively, they've got an outstanding D. They do have to play Ohio State on the road, may even be an underdog in that game, but I think Penn State's got the best talent in the country this year, and I see James Franklin breaking through. He's had a lot of close games against Ohio State, but I think this year they break through.
Once again, we're joined by Phil Steele, the creator of Phil Steele's College Football Preseason Magazine. Been going strong for 31 years, correct, Phil?
Yeah, I started when I was 10.
I'm sure it seems that way. I'm sure it does. You can also go to philsteele.com. Check out the digital copy as well. Highly recommend. Phil, diving in specifically for our listeners in this area, the SEC on page 52, you've got Phil's 2025 forecast. You've got the Bulldogs sitting at #1, edging out Texas. We know across the country, a lot of people, Jim even mentioned it, very high on Texas. What gave Georgia the edge over Texas? And your predictions also, you've got Tennessee sitting at #7, and we know the big question mark at quarterback that they have now with Joey Aguilar coming in. What are your predictions on the Volunteers as well?
Yeah, and this goes to a topic we touched on earlier, the difference between the power poll and where I predict the players. If you look at the power poll, I've got Texas rated #3 in the country and Georgia #7. So now you're saying, well, how did you pick Georgia over Texas? And then the answer is schedule. And, look at Texas and Oklahoma, for example. They both came into the SEC last year. Oklahoma played the toughest schedule in the SEC. Texas played the easiest. Texas and Missouri both had the softest schedules in the SEC. Texas had a great year. Oklahoma struggled. When you look at Georgia, last year they had 3 road games against their 3 toughest opponents. They had to play Ole Miss, Alabama, and Texas all on the road. Now, they lost 2 of them, and that was one of the reasons Georgia had a struggle to get into the SEC title game. This year, their 3 toughest opponents are Alabama, Texas, and Mississippi, but they get them all at home. And between the hedges, Georgia hasn't lost in 5 years. Now, they don't have the star power that they had a couple years ago when they were winning back-to-back national titles, but they do have a lot of talent. And a big fan of Glenn Schumann, the defense coordinator for Georgia. I think he's got a lot of talent there. Gunnar Stockton should do well. And as mentioned, the schedule is big because Texas has had some problems getting past Georgia. They lost to them twice last year, and now they got to win between the hedges. Texas is a team, though, very talented. Might have the best defense in the country. Offensively, I do think Arch Manning's going to do well. They've got my question mark would probably be the offensive line. They lose 4 starters off the offensive line. That's going to have to come around quickly. And if you're looking, SEC, I think Alabama's a team to watch. They've got every unit ranks in my top 10 in the front of the magazine, with the exception of quarterback. And I do think that their quarterback, Ty Simpson, might be a better fit for the offense. By the way, they bring in Ryan Grubb, the offense coordinator from Washington, and Kalen DeBoer. Ty Simpson probably a better fit for the offense than Jalen Milroe was. This is a very dangerous team in Alabama. But as mentioned, they do have to play Georgia on the road this year as well.
So, talking about the Vols, they've had a very interesting offseason with the quarterback departure. Off of a historic run, kind of getting back in the mix into the college football world. Kind of talk on what you think their season is going to be like this year.
Yeah, I think they have a chance of contending for a playoff spot once again, provided the QB play comes along. Now, Aguilar is a guy that there's 2 question marks I have with him as the starting quarterback if he beats out Merklinger. And the first is he had a 33-10 ratio back in 22. Loved him. Last year that dropped. He only had a 23-14 ratio. Bit of a concern there. Didn't have as good a year. Then he was learning the App State offense. Now this spring he learned the UCLA offense. Now he's got to learn the Tennessee offense. A lot of quarterbacks say, hey, I'm on my 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. Heck, he's on his 3rd offense in 1 year, so that's going to be tough. Plus, they lose Dylan Sampson, their top running back, who set the Tennessee record last year. They lose their top 2 receivers. They lose 4 starters off the offensive line. So there are question marks that you have with Tennessee. But you look at the schedule, I think the key games are going to be that Georgia game in Week 3, if they can somehow beat Georgia, and then the Oklahoma game on November the 1st. Other than that, I do see them probably losing at Bama, at Florida. But if they can win those 2 home games, and Tennessee's been pretty doggone good at home, 20-1 over the last 3 years. If they win those home games, I think they're a playoff contender. Lose those home games, though, and having to play Alabama and Florida on the road, now all of a sudden you're looking at maybe an 8-4 team, which is why I picked them 7th in the SEC. And by the way, being picked in 7th in the SEC is not a bad thing. There's a lot of good – you guys may not know this, but there's a lot of good teams in the SEC.
Absolutely. All right, final question for you, Phil. What's your opinion about the 12-team playoff?
Last year it was interesting that all the bye teams lost, and I also didn't like the seeding. I don't think there was any – I thought Penn State had a better seeding than Oregon did in the playoffs because, Oregon drew Ohio State in the first round, and Penn State was playing – couple of easier opponents. Notre Dame as well played a better schedule. So I think they do have to work. They did work the seeding thing out, though, so that'll be good. It'll be interesting to see how the bye teams fare because, let's face it, last year some of the bye teams were underdogs in the first round. That's why they lost. But then, Oregon losing to Ohio State like they did, and then Georgia losing to Notre Dame like they did, you wonder a little bit about that. But overall, I thought it was good. It brought up the excitement of college football. I do hope it doesn't turn into a battle of attrition as far as the playoffs go. Notre Dame was down their top defensive lineman, top offensive lineman when they played Ohio State. Could have been a closer game maybe had those guys been playing. In the FCS playoffs, I've seen attrition a couple of years back. The third-place team in the division in the Colonial Conference was playing in the title game because they remained healthy and all the other teams got banged up. I don't want the healthiest team winning the title. I want the best team winning it. But overall, I thought it went pretty well. What was your opinion?
I liked it. I mean, I'm glad they're going to do the seeding properly, if you will, this year. I don't know if we're going to go to 16 anytime soon, but personally, I think it's good for college football that more teams have an opportunity to get a tournament like this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I was a 4-team proponent, but it seems more fun at the end of the year. More teams are involved.
Absolutely. Phil, we thank you very much for coming on with us today, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. And remember, the magazine is only available at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million for brick and mortar, or you can go online and get it at philsteele.com. And if you go to philsteele.com, I charge you a shipping charge. But we also give you the digital magazine absolutely free. And we actually update the digital magazine all the way through September. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, philsteele.com. But always enjoy doing shows in Cleveland, guys, because that's where I'm from. Oh, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. You guys are Cleveland, Tennessee. But at least we got from the same city, huh? Basically.
Absolutely, man. Thanks a lot, Phil.
All right, a lot of fun talking football with you guys.
Thanks, Phil.